is the Monster Girl Survivor's Guide with Jingraves and Otaku Mike. Say hi, Jingraves.
What's up, guys? Yeah,
Um,
me and Otaku Mike have been doing some monster hunting. So take it away, Mike.
oh, so if you don't know what this is going to be possibly a monthly um, podcast or live stream where we go over the Monster Girl Encyclopedia as a whole. Um, Today we are looking at the Succubus and the Lesser Succubus. We are covering, as of right now, the Monster Girl Encyclopedia #1. Then we'll go into volume 2. We'll see how this goes. So, Jen Graves, what are your initial impressions of the Succubus itself?
Oh man, I mean the Succubus is pretty crazy, especially since in the Kinko Cross world of the encyclopedia and whatnot, they are basically the ones that came off of the new Overlord in it, which is
Yes.
she is a succubus,
Yes.
and I mean, it's just pretty crazy with that's the one that they would pick first and then lead up into it that the overall mother of these monsters is a succubus.
Yes, that is true. And I mean, the succubuses, from what it seems like, they kind of seem to do the Overlord's bidding as a whole. Like, it seems like she kind of has like an army of succubuses,
Yeah.
succubi, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Um, but the succubus is part of the succubus family. Obviously, it's a fiend type, and the habitat is the monster realm, which we will get into that later in another podcast. We'll talk about the realms that different monster girls reside in, and their nature is lustful, and their diet is essence of human man. You want to talk about essence real quick, Jim Graves?
Sure. So, guys, a lot of the stuff in the encyclopedia, there are some monsters that have like random diet things that are like fruit or meat or something else that doesn't. Most of it pertains to human essence, and you learn later on that basically that does not just entail men, it also entails women.
Yes.
And from that, though, women, based off of whatever monster girl goes after them, the uh, has the ability to change them almost into a monster girl like themselves, or if it's like a two-step process, some of them have that. Um, and men always turn into these raging, horny things called incubus or incubi,
Yes, that's correct.
and it just, it happens.
Yeah, that's the only real inkling we would, I guess you could say, where the men actually turn into something in this world.
Yes.
Um, but the succubus does have uh, it is they are under the overlord's control. Um, they feed off of the essence, which is it's semen. We're talking about some semen, you know.
I mean, I don't think, and I only know this because of that one book that you and I talked about before, the crap, what is it called? The Holy Corpse Rising. That's what it
Yes.
is. And essence is just anything that comes off of your body. So it could be tears, it could be sweat, it could be semen. I mean, I'm sure there's some other stuff that it could be, but just anything that wafts off of your body, almost like a fantasy forensic test.
Yes. Um,
So,
and um, the the succubus does have a lot of influence over the other monsters, um, and one thing I find interesting is that they can actually change their appearance to look normal to lure in their unsuspecting victims,
Right.
which I find very interesting. We don't get to really see that in the book itself of like what they might look like, but I'm guessing that they probably take away the horns and the tail and the wings. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably takes off the horns, the tail, the wings, almost like uh what's her name from Darkstalkers?
Morgana,
Yes,
yeah, she is a succubus.
because but she is able to turn into like a human and look nothing like it. I think the only thing with her is she gets like a wing tattoo on her butt,
Yeah,
like a tramp stamp.
but there are various forms of the succubus. They all don't necessarily look alike. They can range in various appearances and whatnot, and they do have a great individual variations in their personalities. They're not all necessarily the same. You know,
Yeah, even though the picture that you're probably seeing of the one that's in the book, I mean, they have different ones to that. They can cater to a specific thing. That's kind of what succubi are. And one of the other things that I find funny is it is similar to like Monster Musume and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
but most of this actually seems a little more romantic, even though they are going
Yes,
after a guy for his splooge.
yeah, basically,
um, that they're trying to find like their mate, and some of them, I think the succubus is one of the only ones that kind of goes after multiple people, but most of these monsters and stuff actually, once they find like the guy that they love or somebody that they want to go after, they usually just stick with that one guy unless they're, for quote of a better words, like low IQ, I guess.
yeah, and they actually do have a some inkling of magic. The succubus do, where they can lure in men or women to basically be their prisoners. They don't necessarily aren't um, they're seeming more forceful when it comes to obtaining a mate, but only the most strong-willed men can or strong-minded men or women can actually um, fight off the succubus's magic and whatnot.
Right, yeah.
But
So don't get
yeah,
caught anywhere late at night with a succubus.
yeah, and usually, if you get captured by a succubus, you are doomed to all eternity uh, to be their sex slave, basically.
Yes. So and this is one that I feel like is more natural for a lot of us to wrap our minds around too, because succubi are ones that we have had tales of before.
Yeah,
I mean, some people kind of also consider them almost vampire like, except going after a man's essence,
yeah,
which again, could be usually people say that it's semen or going after blood or something like that. Um, but that's also outside of Kinko Cross's world.
yes, that is true.
But,
So, sorry, after you.
oh no, you're good.
So, would you say the succubus? Would you want to run into a succubus, say, in your everyday life? Would you want this monster girl to like show up at your house or whatever, or when you're out and about?
Ooh,
Would you
I
be Would you be scared shitless?
Maybe at my house. I don't know about out.
Do you feel you would be able to withstand her wide range of seductiveness and her techniques?
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like a good manga that goes with this would be uh interviews with monster girls, because there is a gym teacher in it that is a succubus.
Oh yes, there is.
And I mean, she doesn't look anything like this. No horns, no wings, no
Yeah,
tail.
she looks like a normal
Um,
human.
yeah, but I mean, she wears very average clothes. She doesn't want anybody to be attracted to her. She tries not to sleep close to anybody because she doesn't want her like magic or whatever to go through into their dreams and give them perverted dreams about her.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of other characters and stuff. But with her, I feel like it is that the seduction is also part of, or the tempting part also is wearing a skimpy dress and all that other stuff.
yeah,
I feel like with the succubus, their magic is more so laid down in being able to make you look at them, not
hmm,
like if you were in a bar and you saw somebody that had succubus powers or whatever, and you saw them across the bar, then that was kind of like, oh, well, this is their power, not, oh, I just saw somebody that I liked, because there could be 100 of them. Why did you look at
yeah,
this one?
yeah.
So
And I actually wanted to bring up the way that they kind of basically turn men into the incubuses. Um, the succubus injects mana into the male partners while they're mating, basically, and which or women as well. But for the men, it causes their libidos to swell up and produce large quantities of essence, and basically turns into like kind of like almost like a horrific monster. And their humanity um, is basically lost at this point, if I remember correctly.
I think with the succubi, it is that way. I don't know if it's that way with all of them, because there are some that do have some monster girls in the book that have almost like a love story that kind of seems like it
Mm-hmm.
happens with it. But especially for the succubi, it really seems like that is just sex crazy, especially because of there not being another form of nutrients or whatever, and
Yeah,
it just being the essence.
so they basically seem to live off of it,
Yeah.
and they take pleasure in having
Another thing that I would like the book to kind of
uh,
state too a little bit is like whether they lived in a certain area,
yeah,
right? So like let's say a succubus lives in a town by herself um full of people,
uh-huh,
would she be able to take a little bit from everybody and be able to survive off of that, and maybe not have to put so many under a spell? Or would it have the same effect as it would on one person, her drawing essence off of somebody?
that's true. Yeah, it doesn't really necessarily say on whether or not they have one mate or they go after multiple people, basically,
Yeah.
you know. But which that leads into our next um, person, I guess you could say, which is let's see if I can get to it. Which is the lesser succubus. And Jim Graves, do you want to start us off with the lesser succubus?
Sure. As far as it goes with the lesser succubus guys, this is that starting phase right after you get the taste of a succubus's power. This would be um, like I said earlier with the succubus, this is more of like the leveling system thing. Um,
Yes.
the lesser succubus would be right after a woman turned into a quote unquote succubus, she would turn into a lesser succubus. And
Yes.
after she got more power and took in more essence and all this other stuff, she herself usually would grow into a regular succubus.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen all the time, but as far as I know, most of the time it should happen that way.
But with the lesser succubus, they do start out as humans. They are part of the succubus family. They're fiend types. Their habitat is unknown, which I kind of want to know what their habitat is. You know, and their nature is lustful, and they're
I think the reason why they put it as unknown is because the only way you can get a lesser succubus is by turning into one.
that's
You know,
true. And with them, it's really interesting because they I don't remember if they can change their appearance or they have to stay as a succubus
I
itself.
I think they can make everything smaller, but they can't lessen it.
They're they basically get like a huge upgrade. Like they go up in, I guess you could say, monster levels.
Yeah,
Because in the picture they have a before and after picture of what it looks like, and she looks completely different. But she does basically still have some of her humanity left. When they turn into succubus, I think they do still keep their memories, but they do grow horns and wings and whatnot. And they're basically, I don't think
yeah,
they're as powerful as the regular succubus.
no. And I think with these ones too, there's a few creatures too that it is kind of a telltale thing for. And I think this is one of them that basically they were trying to go hunt down a man that they were flattered with or something like that. They will try and go get somebody that they know to be their incubi hubby,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or husbando,
yeah,
and try and get them to be that way. And after a few different attempts of trying to look for somebody, if they keep getting rejected, then it kind of falls into the category of, oh, I don't care who I'm with. Which I
yeah,
can't remember if the lesser succubus is one of those that if it isn't a thing of love or whatever, if she turns into something else, there are some other monster girls that do that as well.
yeah. Because correct me if I'm wrong. Don't didn't all the monsters before they were just monsters?
Yeah, all the monsters before were basically like monsters that we know. So obviously not the succubus because that obviously is human or like a vampire. But like think about like with Greek mythology or whatever, the Hydra having the many different heads, or I'm trying to think of one that's in the book. Let me flip the page. Like the Goblin, the Goblin, we would know it almost to be like um, the little green guys in
Yeah,
Gremlin, um, from the movie Gremlin. In this, basically, they are more human-like. They look like humans. They have that, but then they have traits that are still taken back, which makes them into monster girls instead of just
yeah.
monsters.
One thing though in this, it says they grow fur to basically protect their bodies,
Which one?
and for the lesser succubus, which that is not in the succubus uh, thing chapter,
Yeah.
which that's interesting. Oh, one thing I, I find it hilarious is it says they won't hesitate to go after men and whatnot or women. The lust kind of takes over them
Yeah.
and whatnot. But it says there's no way to restore a woman to being not a succubus, like not there's no way to turn them back. Once you're turned into a lesser succubus, you're stuck basically.
I don't think there's a way to turn anybody back.
Yeah, I don't know if there is.
One of the other things that I want to know that I kind of questioned when I was going through it is it possible to turn into another monster girl or whatever,
uh
and then maybe with more essence or mana, because later on we'll talk about more of a monster mana, guys.
Yeah,
With more of that, will any other kind of monster girl turn into a succubus?
yeah, that is true. And I actually kind of want to um, end some with almost like a humorous note because we are coming up on 20 minutes and whatnot. Um, the last part of the succubus or lesser succubus, it says there is there is no known way to restore the woman as well. But it says if your lover is turned into a succubus, do not attempt to save her. Instead, flee immediately, unless you wish to be carried off into the monster realm and spend your eternity with this sensual um, fiend, basically. Which I don't know if I would necessarily want to be carried off into the monster, into the realm or the underworld or whatever it is. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if I want that. You know.
Which on that's a whole nother discussion, but aren't there multiple places that a monster realm can be?
Yeah, but I believe this is more like the underworld, basically, kind of thing. But we'll get into that some more later on.
Next time.
Next time on Monster Girl Survivor Guide with Otaku Mike and Jingraves. We hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Let us know down in the comment section down below on which Monster Girl you would like us to cover next. You know, we can go out of order if we want. We don't have to necessarily go in order. You know.
Right.
Um,
And not only that, you guys might not know how many we've pre-recorded, so it
yes,
might
that's
just
true.
be ones that we've pre-recorded and released to you, or we might get on the ball and record some other ones just to try and think about what the masses would pick.
Yes, that is true. Um, but Jen Graves, would you like to plug your channel?
Oh yeah. So guys, come check me out at I'm Jen Graves at channel Jen Graves.
I
Or
will.
if you can see on the
Uh,
thing, I am Jen, or a lot of
yeah,
other names that people love to call me. Um, but you can come check me out over there on the Jen Graves channel.
and we don't exactly know if we're going to have this on a regular basis, do like once a month type of thing. I will leave a link to the description down below, and to if should we do you want to leave a link to the fan page as well, or I guess we could leave a link to where you can buy the book if you would like to purchase the book. It's actually a pretty cheap book to get. It's a fun read. But I will leave Jen Graves' link down below. You know, go check him out. Comment. Let us know how we did on this first episode. Actually, technically it's the second episode. The
Yeah, the
first
first one's over on my channel.
the
So
first one's over on Jen Graves' channel. That's just the introduction. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed this. Come back for more. Hopefully, we change some people in their opinions or assumptions of the Monster Girl genre as a whole. And we hope you guys had fun. Remember, same Monster Girl time, same Monster Girl channel. Come check us back out. Come check us out again. And we are going to see you guys tonight or later on.
bye.
Bye.